Let's begin now with our top story. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened Iraq with crippling sanctions if it expels American forces from its territory. Yesterday, Iraq's parliament voted to remove U.S. troops in retaliation for the assassination of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Trump said the U.S. troops won't leave Iraq until Baghdad pays for an expensive U.S. airbase built there. In a statement, the U.S. State Department said America is disappointed at the action taken by the Iraqi parliament. Over 5,000 U.S. troops have been deployed in Iraq to support Baghdad in the battle against ISIS. Well, senior Iranian politician Major General Mohsen Rezai has threatened to hit Israel if the U.S. attacks Iran. Tensions between Tehran and Washington are high after a U.S. airstrike killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Speaking in Tehran, the former Islamic Revolution Guards Corps chief said Iran will target Israel's port city of Haifa, among others. Rezai said Tehran will fight until the complete withdrawal of American troops from the region. He said the Soleimani assassination represents an attack on the regional resistance to terrorists. Soleimani's successor, Ismail Qani, has promised to avenge the death of the Al-Quds head. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened major retaliation if Iran responds to Soleimani's killing. Well, the funeral prayers of slain Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani have been offered in Tehran. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, led the funeral at the University of Tehran. Hundreds of thousands of Iranians have come out to take part in the funeral and protest against the killing of the general. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has called his Afghan and Iraqi counterparts to discuss the regional situation. Rouhani discussed U.S. aggression and Tehran's counter-strategy. Speaking to Iraqi President Barham Saleh, Rouhani said tolerating Soleimani's assassination is hard for both countries. Praising the Iraqi parliament's vote for U.S. withdrawal, he said it will bring stability and peace to the region. Saleh's office said the president stressed the importance of self-restraint and wisdom to contain the current crisis. President Ashraf Ghani told the Iranian president that Afghanistan soil will not be used against any other country. During the call, Ghani extended his condolences to the people and president of Iran over Soleimani's death. Germany, France, and the UK are urging Iran to avoid rolling back its nuclear deal commitments. German Chancellor Angela Merkel, French President Emmanuel Macron, and the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson have written a joint statement to Tehran. The leaders have called on Iran to withdraw measures not in line with the nuclear pact. The European leaders have also urged Iran not to take or support violent action. They said it is crucial to de-escalate tensions, urging restraint and responsibility. Iran has summoned Germany's charge d'affaires to protest against comments made by German officials in support of Qasem Soleimani's killing. The chief of Lebanon's Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, has warned that the U.S. Army will pay the price for killing Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. In a televised speech in Baghdad, Nasrallah called the killing of Soleimani a clear, blatant crime that will transform the Middle East. He said the only just punishment is to target the U.S. military in the region, and only American civilians should be spared. The Hezbollah chief called on Iraq to free itself of what he called the American occupation. Nasrallah said evicting U.S. military forces from the region is now a priority. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has called upon his Iranian and Emirati counterparts to discuss the regional situation after the killing of Iranian commander Major General Qasem Soleimani in a U.S. airstrike in Baghdad. Pakistan has already urged both the United States and Iran to exercise restraint. On Friday, the Pakistani Foreign Office expressed deep concern over increasing tensions in the region. It called for the resolution of the dispute through diplomatic means. Let's now get to some other news coming out of Turkey. President Tayyip Erdogan has said Turkish troops have started moving into Libya after Parliament approved the move last week. He said the mission will provide stability for the UN-backed government of national accord in Tripoli. Erdogan said Turkish soldiers will build an operation center in Libya and work to avoid a humanitarian tragedy. The GNA is fighting an insurgency by eastern forces under General Khalifa Haftar. Erdogan's decision has been met by widespread criticism from the US, European countries, and the Arab world. Israel, Greece, and Cyprus have warned Turkey against any deployment to Libya. The UN Security Council is set to meet today to discuss the Libyan situation. In Syria, meanwhile, airstrikes by government forces have killed 9 people and wounded at least 10 others in Idlib. An intensified bombardment by government and Russian forces in Idlib has forced tens of thousands of people to flee the region. Idlib is the last major stronghold of rebels who have fought Syria's government since 2015. According to reports, over 11,000 people, including 1,000 children, were killed last year in the country. In total, the Syria war has killed nearly 400,000 people, including over 115,000 civilians, since it began in 2011. On to India now, where countrywide protests have erupted against the attack on students of Jawaharlal National University in New Delhi. At least 30 people are injured after masked gunmen entered the university and beat up students. Students from Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, Pune, Hyderabad, and Aligarh protested while raising anti-government slogans. Hundreds gathered outside police headquarters at Delhi's ITO junction to condemn police inaction against the masked assailants. The students of Aligarh Muslim University held a candlelight march. The JNU Student Union has blamed the latest violence on a right-wing student body linked to the ruling BJP political party. Meanwhile, in England, the students of Oxford University also rallied in solidarity with JNU students. "109 children have died over the past month at a government hospital in North India. Medical Superintendent of J.K. Lone Hospital in Kota in the northwestern state of Rajasthan confirmed the death toll. The hospital said roughly 3/4 of the deaths have occurred in the hospital's neonatal intensive care unit. Indian media report nearly 1,100 infants died on an average in the last 6 years at the same hospital. Meanwhile, 134 children have died in Rajkot Hospital in the southern state of Gujarat. The children who died in Rajkot are also said to be newborns like the ones in Kota. Well, in news coming out of Indonesia, the death toll from floods there has risen to 60 after torrential rains caused landslides in Jakarta. Disaster management officials have warned the death toll may rise more. The meteorological agency feared the possibility of more torrential rains in Jakarta, where thousands of people are still unable to return to their waterlogged homes. Nearly 200,000 people have taken refuge in shelters in Jakarta. Meanwhile, President Joko Widodo has announced a plan to move the capital to the Borneo island to take pressure off Jakarta. In Spain, socialist leader Pedro Sanchez has failed in a first attempt to get Parliament's backing to form a government. Now he has 2 days to secure Parliament's support to end an 8-month political gridlock. Sanchez needed 176 votes for an absolute majority in the 350-seat assembly to be confirmed as the country's prime minister, but he only got 166 votes. He will face Parliament again on Tuesday to win a simple majority to become prime minister. He's likely to get that after securing a deal from 13 lawmakers of Catalonia's largest separatist party to abstain from voting. Time now for our first break. I'll be back, though, after that with plenty more news. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, a Spanish Coast Guard vessel has rescued 60 migrants in the Atlantic Ocean off its northwestern coast. The international humanitarian movement said migrants have been sent to Arguineguín port in Gran Canaria. Spain's Ministry of Interior said overall sea arrivals to Spain have decreased, but those to the Canary Islands have more than doubled in 2019. Authorities said migrants have changed routes to reach Europe due to increased security in the Mediterranean Sea. Thousands of asylum seekers from Africa and the Middle East embark on the dangerous journey by sea every year to make it to Europe. Social Democratic candidate and former Prime Minister Zoran Milanovic has been elected Croatia's next president. The State Election Commission said Milanovic took nearly 53% of the vote in Sunday's polls. His nearest rival, Grabar Kitarovic, took a little over 47%. Milanovic's supporters celebrated the victory on the streets of Zagreb. Speaking at his party building in Zagreb, he expressed gratitude to all Croatians.
Dear friends, welcome to the Factory of Victories as I have promised. Thank you to all, those who voted for me and those who did not vote for me, and thank you to my rival, Kolinda Grabar-Kitarovic. I will not make divisions among the Croatian citizens, especially when it comes to the things they are sensitive about and the things they cannot tolerate easily.
In Venezuela, 2 lawmakers have declared themselves parliament's speaker after a tumultuous day in that country's politics. Opposition legislators re-elected Juan Guaido as head of the Congress, but were forced to do so from an alternative site. Troops with riot shields blocked Guaido and his supporters from entering parliament. The blockade allowed the ruling Socialist Party to hand the post to legislator Luis Parra. The U.S., EU, and many Latin American states have condemned the handling of the speaker vote. Speaking to supporters at an auditorium, Guaido reiterated himself as interim president of Venezuela.
I swear before God, before the Venezuelan people, to fulfill this constitution, the inherent duties of the position of President of the Parliament and interim President of Venezuela, to enforce the rights of our Venezuelan brothers and sisters. If it is to be so, may God and the fatherland award it, if not condemn it. I am sworn in thus as the President of the National Parliament.
Most Asian stock markets are trading lower amid heightened geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Investor confidence is low, fearing an armed conflict between the U.S. and Iran over the killing of top Iranian commander in a U.S. airstrike. The Nikkei 225 plunged 2%. Seoul's Kospi Index and Hong Kong's Hang Seng have so far lost nearly 0.75%. However, the Shanghai Composite has managed to recover fractionally after pairing early losses. Oil prices have touched a 3-month high after international benchmark Brent crude gained over 2%. Oil is now trading over $70 per barrel, which might rise further over supply concerns amidst rising Middle East tensions. Prices jumped nearly 4% on Friday after U.S. airstrikes killed Iranian military leader Qasem Soleimani near Baghdad airport. Eurasia Group has predicted further increase in prices to $75 per barrel due to rising risk, to oil infrastructure in the region. The U.S. State Department has warned of an increased risk of attacks on oil facilities and other targets in Saudi Arabia. And with that, you're all caught up. Thank you for watching this bulletin here at Indus News.